after 9 o'clock. HawkFanatic.com, brought to you by Big Dog Tech Solutions. Dr. Lance Forbes, Diamond Dental in Cedar Rapids. Streets Maintenance, Remodeling, and Plumbing. The Ox Yoke Inn in the Amanas. Dirk Sterner Taxidermy. Premier Automotive. Senior Benefits. Diamond Dream Sports Academy. Harty and Stocker Jewelers, 101 South Dubuque Street, downtown Iowa City. The Midtown Family Restaurants. Supple's Flowers, home of 1-800-800-ROSE. GT Car and his crew at Supple's Building and Remodeling. Mike's E-Keys for Cars. Steve Anderson, Hawkeye Title and Settlement. And Patrick Eads, his great staff at Deary Brothers Ford on Mormon Trek. Here's Tom Suter, and from HawkFanatic.com, it's Pat Harty.
Yes, and I like your Billy sweatshirt.
Yeah.
It's very nice. Billy show.
Yeah,
very cool.
It was cold this morning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's winter.
I know. Yeah, I get cold. I don't know why. Old. Maybe.
Yes, in winter.
Yeah.
Old and winter.
Old and winter.
Yep.
Emphasis on old.
Yeah, I'm old.
Well, winter, too.
Tip that mic up a little to your face.
I don't want it too close.
Nasty. It's not nasty. I clean the thing I clean all
what,
of
your
these
hands?
all the
What, do
time.
you rub your hands on it?
Huh? My nose. I rub my nose across it. Yeah.
Yep, here we are, 2 days before Christmas, talking Hawks. Talking Hawks.
Yes.
Well, kind of a very sad note.
Yes.
Finding out about I did not know she was in hospice.
Jamie Cavey.
Jamie Cavey Lang, yeah, so sad, man. 41 years old, 20 years younger than me, and I'm sitting here thinking, what did I do to deserve 20 years longer on this planet than her? You think about stuff like that. At least I do when you hear about this.
It doesn't work that way, unfortunately.
Three kids.
Yep.
Sad.
Yeah, it is. Very sad.
I haven't written anything yet. I'm going to write something when I get home. I was going to wait to see if I would put a release out, but I'm going to write something on my own because she, in a lot of ways, symbolized Iowa basketball under Lisa and Jan. I remember when she got here, she wasn't very good. She was good enough to get a scholarship to Iowa. Don't get me wrong. She was all state, but she had a lot of work to be able to play at the Big Ten level, and by the time she was done, she was really good. She improved as much as any center. Cesano was all Big Ten her second, her first year. She was good from the moment she started playing. Jamie Cavey had to work at it a little bit. Man, by the time she was done, she was a really good player, and she kind of epitomized what Jan does with post players, but just way too young, very sad.
Yeah, it is, and especially with
Christmas.
Christmas.
The 3 kids,
yeah.
Christmas. You couldn't think of a more depressing scenario.
Yeah, it's a bad deal.
Yeah, and I saw that, and I'm like, wow. And the fact that she had been in hospice. Imagine being in hospice at 41 at any age. My dad was in it for like 5 days. He was 90. He was almost 92, and that was sad.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, my thoughts and prayers are with her family, and she's up in a better place now. At least that's what we believe, and that's.
Well, let's hope so.
Yeah.
That's really all you can do.
Hello.
Does anybody know what she died of?
I haven't.
No, not
No.
for sure.
No, they haven't released it.
The fact she was in hospice.
Yeah.
We can make certain speculations, but that's all it is. I don't know for sure.
No, I don't know.
I know. I always enjoyed talking to her. I talked to her after or before the games when she was with Rob Brooks on, with doing the women's games, and I always enjoyed. She was always so enthusiastic.
Yep.
And
Yeah. I hadn't thought about it. She wasn't doing the women's games this year, and obviously we.
well, she didn't do them last year, and I asked
Well, obviously
Rob,
we
and
know
he
why
said
now.
She had some health issues,
Yeah.
and that's all he would say.
I was not aware of that, but hasn't Kathleen Reynolds been doing a lot of the?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, and Tiffany Reed's also been in there
No, it's
doing
just
some.
Very sad.
Yeah, it's really bad. And did you think the men played pretty good on Saturday night?
They played good enough.
Good enough to win.
Yeah. Well.
I don't think that was a very good team they were playing, but they still beat them.
Well, they had that 7-foot guy, but he at times he could be a runner.
Yeah, I mean, Utah to me, if they'll be a fringe NCAA team probably. They're okay.
I think that's accurate.
There was a reason they were in the NIT last year. But
I had
we were in the NIT last year.
Yeah, but at least they beat them. The worst thing is to lose to teams like that.
Yeah. Well, I think the men are exciting to watch, and I don't know why more people don't get over there.
Well, we've been talking about this. This has been building for years.
Hey, Karn, I've got Coach Patterson on the other line.
Okay, all right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hey, Coach.
Good morning, guys. How are you?
Hey,
We're
Don.
doing good, Donnie. How are you?
I cannot complain. Life is good.
Well, did you get get your fill of football over the weekend?
Well, there were a few games that were underwhelming. Matter of fact, all four of the playoff games were underwhelming. You've heard me say before, I thought we should have expanded to 8 teams rather than 12.
Uh-huh.
And those 4 games on last weekend kind of proved my point. The 4 games, the average point spread was 19.25 points. In those 4 games, and that's after Indiana got 2 touchdowns right at the end of the game, of course, to make their game with Notre Dame respectable. But we all know it was much more one-sided than what the score would show.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, it was very one-sided. What's interesting, Don, and first of all, good morning and early Merry Christmas. A lot of the SEC chatter after the Indiana game and what have you, like Paul Feinbaum and Lane Kiffin. Lane Kiffin, he loves to be snarky on Twitter. They were criticizing the games because they were lopsided and wondering why, Alabama. But then when Tennessee got their butts whipped, you don't hear anything from the SEC people. Crickets from the SEC people. Tennessee got beat just as bad as all those other teams did.
Yeah, you're right. And the SEC does the same thing the Big Ten seems to want to do. There aren't that many matchups in the regular season involving the best teams.
No, you're right. You're right. And it was the Indiana game. It was obvious from the beginning that Notre Dame was better at the line of scrimmage. And Don, obviously, I'm a little biased, but Notre Dame's playing pretty good football right now, aren't they? I mean, they seem to be about as good as they've been in a long time.
Yes, they are. Those 4 teams that won, it really doesn't matter which one you talk about. Notre Dame was impressive in the way they ran over Indiana, but let's give Texas a lot of credit too. They ran for 300 and something yards.
They did
against a Clemson team that was overmatched, and Clemson put up a fight. And their quarterback, that's a neat story. He comes back to Austin where he grew up to play against UT. And, of course, he played very well. And yet Texas was still the better team. If you outrush someone by a couple hundred yards, it's kind of hard to lose the game.
No, you're right about that. Who do you think's the best team right now? Do you think it's Oregon?
That's a good question. I think Penn State had the easiest assignment in round 1.
And will continue. They play nothing against Boise State, but we'll see.
Well, you're right. Penn State got the perfect draw.
Yes.
The one thing I'm sure they'll do is next year, conference winners will automatically not be the top 4 seeds. They should have seeded the whole thing based on performance, of course.
Yeah.
That would have left Boise maybe with a number 9 seed or something. Not to beat up on Boise, they played their schedule and played it well.
Mm-hmm.
But questionable schedule compared to the SEC and compared to the Big Ten.
So you think then that the setup this year was flawed, having teams on their home field, because they were all, as we've mentioned, they were all blowouts.
Yeah, I thought so. I mean, that's a huge advantage to play on your home field in the playoffs. And it didn't shock me at all that 9 through 12 all lost. The part that was a little surprising is the games were generally one-sided. They were all double-digit wins.
Yeah. I would like to have seen Notre Dame and Indiana play at Lucas Oil, and I still think Notre Dame would have won. I still think Notre Dame would have won. I mean, they wouldn't have had as big a home field advantage, but wouldn't you? That to me, that would have made more sense. What do you think, Don?
Absolutely. It's kind of hard to imagine they couldn't find a neutral site for all 4 of those first-round games. Somebody, let's face it, over in the holidays, a lot of the big cities have a lot of empty hotel rooms. And, of course, that's the whole motivation to having a bowl team. Having a bowl game is to be able to draw crowds that come into the game.
I will say, shifting gears a little bit, there was a lot of drama at the FCS level. I watched that. South
I watched
Dakota.
a fair amount
and when
of
I
it,
was in
too.
here the other day, I forgot. I mean, Adam Bach plays for South Dakota State. Graham Goring, the former West High wide receiver D-back, he plays for South Dakota State. Then you had Cam Miller on the other side. Cam Miller said he hates South Dakota State. And I mean, that was some pretty good stuff. Did you happen to watch any of that game, Don? Because it was a good one.
It was.
I did, yeah. And North Dakota State is a very difficult place to play.
Yes.
For obvious reasons, it's indoors. I think it seats about 20,000.
Uh-huh.
That may not sound like a lot, but let's face it, Carver Hawkeye gets really loud with 15,000.
Yes.
So you can imagine that a football stadium that's indoors, even with 20,000, makes significant noise.
And Tim Polasek, the former Iowa, he was the offensive line coach.
Yeah.
Or no, was he the offensive line? Yeah, Tim Polasek wasn't here long, 2 years. He's the head coach now. And it was neat afterwards when he and Cam Miller are hugging each other. And they got this tough kid from Iowa. Now, were you surprised when Cam Miller said, I think the announcer, the girl interviewing him, was caught off guard a little, because when he said that he hates them, and he backed it up. He didn't. Were you listening then?
Yes.
What did you think? Were you listening then, Don?
I did not hear that interview with Cam.
He just said he hates South Dakota
It doesn't
State.
surprise me that he feels that way, because, of course, those teams have been very, very evenly matched in recent years. And here lately, of course, South Dakota State's gotten the upper hand.
Yep, I forgot they had won the previous 2 national titles. And when I'm guessing he means sports hate. I get it. I'm not going to try to over-dramatize it, but I thought it was pretty cool. He played a hell of a game. Don, he's a good quarterback.
He's tough, too. Very tough.
He's a lot quicker than I thought he was.
And he's also very well coached.
Yes.
You might remember we had a conversation about Randy Hedberg
a
couple of years ago.
You're right, we did.
Because he's got at least 3 quarterbacks that are all playing in the NFL, none of which were that highly recruited, of course. They were developed very, very well. And here's another beneficiary of that coaching, and that's Cam Miller.
Yeah. No, it's quite a story. It's quite a story. And I'll tell you what, that what's the Lance kid, the younger brother of that wide receiver, man, can he catch? I mean, he's something.
Excellent.
Yeah, I mean, those were good balls, too, but he made some tough catches. And, okay, now we shift back to the playoff. So Notre Dame, Georgia. What's your gut feeling? I mean, for some reason, I'm confident as a Notre Dame fan, and I'm never confident, which means they're going to lose. So what's your thoughts, Don?
Well, I do believe, is that in the Sugar Bowl, I think?
Yes, Sugar Bowl.
Yeah. I think Notre Dame matches up well against Georgia. You know, they're both very reliant on a good, solid running game. And I do think there's probably some question about the health status of Georgia's quarterback.
Well, I've been told that he wasn't going to play.
For sure.
Yeah.
He's out, I believe.
Yes.
I think they're going to the backup, who's a better runner, but he doesn't have near the experience.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I didn't think the starter was even likely to play.
Yeah.
Now, there is quite a bit of time, of course, between and, of course, Georgia didn't have a game, so, Georgia got no one hurt last weekend.
Yes, that's a good point.
But the quarterback was damaged in the conference championship game. And, of course, that's the other side. Those teams that did get a bye, I will give them credit, of course, for having to play a conference championship game the previous weekend. And, of course, they got a little dinged up in those games, I'm sure.
And then we got Oregon against Ohio State, right?
Yeah.
I have
it's going to be an interesting game.
I think Ohio State's going to win.
I give the schedulers credit. It was only appropriate that they schedule the possibility of that game.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, those two. Ohio State had to win. Oregon was already in, but of course their game's set for the Rose Bowl.
Yes.
So it'll almost feel like an old Big Ten, Pac-10 matchup in the Rose Bowl, because Oregon, of course, is a West Coast team.
No, you're right. It will. Yeah. And
Yeah.
I don't know why, Don. I just got
a rematch of 2 Big Ten opponents now.
Yeah, I just have this weird feeling Ohio State's going to win. I'm not sure why.
Well, they looked awfully determined, and they were
They
very
did.
impressive against Tennessee.
And they almost beat them in Eugene. It wasn't at one point. I mean, it was a really close
like
game.
33-32.
I do remember the analytics on that game. They were very, very even.
Yeah.
I think Oregon might have had a slight edge analytically, and of course it showed up as the slimmest of margins and the win.
I did see a funny tweet, or someone said Ryan Day is the only coach who could win the national title, and his fans would still want him fired for losing to Michigan, which is kind of a
that's a hard job, unless you beat Michigan. And the irony there, you saw the Michigan-Ohio State game, I'm sure.
yes.
it seems like Ohio State falls into the trap
They do.
of trying to be sure that they don't beat themselves, and that's not the best way for Ohio State to play.
They play not to lose against Michigan.
They play not to lose. Yeah, but don't make that mistake. I
No.
mean, we made that mistake in some games.
And I think they also try to match Michigan physicality-wise. When who cares? It's football. If you need to win with finesse, you're still playing football, and you win with finesse. I think they were too hung up on trying to just pound them at the line of scrimmage, and it didn't work because their offensive line isn't that
There's that old
good.
adage, be careful who you choose to play in a phone booth.
Yes.
Because if they're as tough or tougher than you are, then you're giving up that edge you have in terms of athleticism. And I would say Ohio State's more of a finesse team than
Yes.
Michigan.
Yeah, definitely.
So why in God's name would you want to try to slug it out with Michigan?
Okay, and then what are the other two games, Tom? And then
The other two games
then we'll shift over and talk about Iowa,
are
Missouri.
Arizona State and Texas. And then we mentioned briefly Boise State and Penn State, Oregon, Ohio State,
Okay.
and Notre Dame, Georgia.
Arizona State, Texas. What's your thoughts there?
You know, Arizona State's a really interesting team. Of course, the Iowa State fans would tell you that you better not sleep on Arizona State.
Oh, they're right. They're good.
That running back was great.
is a load.
Yeah.
That'll be a good matchup. I wonder where that game is played now.
Does it say where it's played?
Yeah.
Bo Scatabo. What about Bo Scatabo, Captain?
Yeah, both Scatterbo.
That's their running back's
Anybody
name.
that's got a name that's hard to pronounce, that's
Yep.
always a good sign.
Okay, the
That running
Arizona
back,
State.
He's,
Go ahead.
I'm
Manny.
sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm just curious where the game was. It sounds like
He's looking for
Tom,
it.
you've got that information now.
I'm looking. I got too many pages here. Too much stuff.
Google, Captain. Where Arizona State, Texas? Where are they playing?
It is at the Mercedes-Benz Stadium in Atlanta, Georgia.
Oh, okay.
Atlanta,
Peach
so
Bowl.
it's really a neutral site.
Oh,
in that
Peach Bowl.
regard.
Okay,
Yeah,
Peach
Peach
Bowl.
Bowl.
Okay, all right. So yeah, that will
It
be.
might even be in jury world, maybe advantage for Texas. I think Texas is impressive. I mean, let's face it.
They are.
Over 300 yards against Clemson. That's saying something. I would give a slight edge to Texas, simply
I would
because
too.
they've, over the course of the season, they've proven to be even more consistent. And you could argue they've certainly played a tougher schedule than Arizona State. I think that's probably true.
Well, the other thing Texas has is if their quarterback does go down, the backup might be even better. I mean, Arch Manning.
Yeah, you're right.
They're loaded at
Yeah,
quarterback.
that's an awfully good 1-2 punch at quarterback.
It is. Whereas I don't know what Arizona State's backup is, but it'll be interesting to see. Arizona State, if Scatabo can stay ahead of the chains and run the ball, they got a chance.
They do.
Well,
But
they were very impressive against Iowa State.
They were.
We'll all
They
be in
were.
agreement with that.
Yeah, he was so physical in that game. So, no, it's going to be. I mean, so do you think, Don, that with what happened in this first round, do you think they will tinker with some stuff before next year?
I think there's a really good argument now. You've heard me I campaign for expansion only to 8 teams.
Mm-hmm.
The best example I could give is those 4 outcomes last weekend. Those are 4 mediocre football games. They were underwhelming in all 4 cases.
Yeah, the Notre Dame game was boring. I quit watching late in the third quarter because I knew they had won, and those 2 touchdowns didn't mean anything. You're right, though. The Notre Dame game I looked so forward to, and it just was never entertaining.
My question is how many fans can afford to go to 4 playoff games? I mean, those are expensive.
That is a really good point. I hadn't thought about that.
Yeah, you're right. Very few people are going to attend all those games because it's very costly when you talk about doing it back to back to back to back.
Most people I wouldn't think could afford
Even though
that.
your first round game might be at home, well, that wasn't a cheap ticket, that's for sure. What did that ticket cost? I wonder.
No, you're right. I mean, if I did it, I'd have to dip into retirement.
Well, no, you're
seriously,
right.
I would. I would have. Hey, Marv, I need some money to go follow. That's a good point, though. There could be 4 games for some.
And that's, I mean, we're doing okay, but I couldn't even consider doing that.
Yeah, no, yet those fields. Don't you think though? A lot of those games, people from around the area will help to.
Well,
although, why would you go
would
though if you
think.
don't have any? Yeah, no, it's an interesting question, but they don't care as long as people are watching on TV.
Yeah, and I think the ticket prices are not necessarily consistent with the demand for those tickets. They're simply going to price them very, very expensively, and you can't afford it, it won't bother them if there's some empty seats even.
No, because they'll
Right.
assume you're watching at home on TV. And ultimately, that's what they want more than anything, isn't it?
But boy, if you have a bunch of playoff games with a whole lot of empty seats, that's not a good look either.
They'll start hiring Caitlin Clark to, like, show up and make appearances there. So Caitlin Clark and Taylor Swift can show up at the games, Captain, just to get people in there.
They would.
But isn't that ultimately, though, what's going to happen, though, if TV continues to get as powerful as it is? Isn't that going to eventually take people out of the seats?
Well, a lot of people said they won't be able to afford the option of going to the games unless our economy improves by leaps and bounds. You know, there are a lot of people, of course, their earning power in recent years has gone down. Even if they're making the same or more money,
Sure.
it doesn't go quite as far as it used to.
Well, to follow college men's basketball and women's now and football, it's almost a luxury item for. It really
that's
is
a problem.
It really is. A lot of people can't afford $1,000 to go.
But a lot of people are also canceling cable and satellite and these things. Eventually,
true, too.
eventually,
That's why I'm so gratified when I go to a women's game at Iowa, and we do have season tickets for women's basketball.
Yep.
I'm just so gratified to go to the games because you see a lot of families there with their children. And it's simply because those tickets are a little more affordable than so many other options out there. And I think it's kind of neat that a lot of young kids have a chance to go watch big-time basketball.
Oh, no, that's a good point.
And the other part of the problem here is the tickets are sold to the secondary market people, you know, the seat geeks,
and then they raise everything.
and then they double, triple the prices of the seats. And that right there is what is the problem. Because if the venues themselves aren't getting rich off these games.
Yeah, I know that Lisa and her sorority sisters are looking into seeing Caitlin and Kate play in Indianapolis, and then they found out what the tickets are going to be, and now they're not quite so sure that they're going to be able to afford it.
No, it's
that trip.
And Ann and I were thinking about it, and you know, to get a bad seat in Indianapolis, and I'd love to see Caitlin play, but to get a bad seat, you know, it's going to cost us $1,000 to get tickets, hotel room, travel, and food.
How much is the ticket going to cost them?
For bad seats, about $250 each.
Well,
for bad seats,
but it's $300 to watch to go to a Roger Waters concert. That's the world. That is the world we live in now. That's just how expensive stuff is now. It's incredible.
Well, and that's how much the tickets cost today. If you know, when the time comes, if there's available, it could be twice what they are now.
I mean, I paid $8 for a tube of toothpaste the other day. $7.97. It was on sale for $8.
Yeah.
Think about that.
Well, thank you for that expenditure, Pat. We appreciate it.
yeah, we do. Did you get mouthwash too?
No, I
Well, we
didn't.
haven't even discussed the Taylor Swift concert yet. I guess we can stay away from that one.
Yeah, what's it cost to go to a Taylor Swift concert?
Well, okay, Donnie, let me put that into perspective for you. My daughter Molly went to 2 Taylor Swift concerts in England, flew over to England, and she spent less money flying and going to 2 concerts. One of the seats were really good. It cost her less to fly to England to go to 2 concerts than it would here in the States to go to a concert.
Well, it sounds like the Americans are getting gouged on ticket prices then somehow.
Yeah, it's just ridiculous. It's the secondary market, and they have to control that.
What'd you pay for tickets, if you mind me asking?
I'm not positive, but to no more than a couple $100 on either of them.
If I'm not mistaken, Taylor Swift in Indianapolis recently, I think it was $3,000 or something for the tickets.
For the really incredibly good tickets, yes.
So not most people can afford that.
No. Of course not.
And there's also people who could afford that who wouldn't pay that. Yeah, it's incredible. I mean, where does it end?
Well, they won't let that happen. They won't let the secondaries in Europe.
Well, and that's why it was cheaper to fly to Europe to go to concerts than staying here in the States.
Well, and that's why a lot of rock stars or country stars or whatever go to Europe, is because, you know, they make just as much, if not more, because there's more people going to their concerts there because they can afford it.
Yeah, it's crazy, but that's the problem is they need to cap the ticket prices on the secondary market, but they won't do it because they say, oh, it's supply and demand.
Yeah.
They'll say it's socialism.
Okay, whatever.
Well, they would if that's but
whatever tag you want to put on it, it's out of hand.
But eventually, though, they're going to price themselves out.
You would think so.
Even at some point, Taylor Swift would price hers, and so will sporting events. But okay, well, let's shift over to the Hawks, Hawkeye football. Found out yesterday, not a surprise, that I did read. Somebody said that he was demanding $1.5 million. That kid from Penn State. That was on Twitter. I don't know if that's true, but Bo Prabula, he committed to Missouri yesterday, and I was not. Were you surprised by that, Tom?
I was disappointed. I did see where Brad Heinrichs, he said, look, we're swinging for the fences
I
with
saw
this
that
guy.
tweet.
Yeah, and but we obviously didn't swing hard enough. But I don't think that's what it was. He liked Missouri's offense better, and he felt it was a better chance for him to succeed, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, obviously he liked Missouri better because he picked him.
Because he picked him.
I mean,
there you go.
So, what's your thoughts, Don?
Well, I think he's got the makings of a good quarterback. What's he got? 2 more years to play, I think.
Yes,
2. Yeah, 2.
Yeah, but he's a little bit like Sully. You know, he's a little bit unproven. He hasn't played that much football. He's played less football than Sully has, I do believe.
Yeah.
Brendan's got more snaps. I'm confident in saying that.
Oh, yes, he does.
Now, they used him in short yards. They used him on goal line, when the game was in doubt. So, and I think one game he might have played pretty much start to finish when Allers was injured. So he's played okay. He's kind of unproven as a passer. Certainly more proven as a runner than a passer.
Yeah, no,
but he has a lot of potential upside. Over the next 2 years, he could become an all-conference quarterback. That certainly appears to be possible.
Makes me wonder if Brendan Sullivan's presence was a bigger factor than money. I mean, if Heinrich, he sent that tweet out yesterday, they were obviously in the running, or he wouldn't have sent that tweet out. To be honest with you, though, I wouldn't. Would you want Iowa to spend $1.5 million on Bo Prabula?
No.
No, I wouldn't either.
No.
That's just way too much in my eyes.
No. Yeah, it's absurd. And for that matter, I do have an idea, and I'm not going to comment publicly about it. I do have an idea of what Cade cost, and I do have an idea of what the Notre Dame quarterback cost.
Mm-hmm. I've been
and frankly, it seems silly that you need to pay a guy that much money to take snaps for you.
I agree, but that's
two of the finest schools in the country.
Yeah, I'm with you, but that's
the world we live in, I guess.
You took the words right out of my mouth, and in fairness to Cade, he got he didn't put a gun to their head.
He got what the market
he got
was
what
paying
the market
at the
was,
time.
and what Iowa was willing to pay him. Iowa went out of their way to get him. Hell, Kirk violated rules to get him.
And it didn't work.
And it didn't work. And Cade, you can say he didn't earn his money, but he did because that was the deal they made.
Yeah.
So, but no, I've heard 2 or 3 different price ranges on Cade. It's all within a certain, but it ain't $1.5 million. No, but so I don't know if that was
still a lot of money.
No, but still, to me, if you start getting even $250,000 for a year, that's a lot of money.
Yeah. Well, realizing a lot of those guys that are blocking for you aren't getting very much compensation at all.
No, you're right. And that's the other thing, too. You bring a kid in like that, and let's say he did, you worry about team morale. Because I think Iowa right now has really good chemistry, and I think part of the reason they do is because of how they have done their NIL. I think they've done a good job of making everybody important. How important do you think that is, Don, to keep everybody needs a piece of the pie?
Yeah, I think it's a challenging job to do so. But that's your goal, and I think if anybody can pull it off, it's going to be someone like Kirk.
Yeah.
So, but it's certainly a headache for him, I would think, in one way or another. And I just wish, it would have been so simple to come up with a better solution here.
Yeah.
I just wish the NCAA would have said, okay, tuition fees, room and board books, that's not enough. We're taking in all this revenue. let's give the players a piece of the pie.
Exactly. That
But
should
the
have been.
ideal way to do it, every player would get the same additional money, whatever that was. Maybe it was $10,000 or $20,000. Well, my gosh, to a college student that's already on full scholarship, an additional $10,000 or $20,000 is a lot of money.
Yes, it is.
Oh, I'm with you. Or why couldn't they have done something when the television revenue was becoming the guiding force? Okay, 10% of all television goes to the players. Something like that.
Yeah.
That would have been millions of dollars.
Well, and they can still do something like
They
that.
could, and I think eventually they will. They're going to get structure. Don, how important do you think it is that they need to get like a CEO of college football, just separate by itself, away from the NCAA? Do you think that is something they need? And if it was that, who would your pick be?
Well, that's a really good question. Anything that comes to mind for me is maybe a retired AD like Barry Alvarez.
Well, that's who I've been saying.
Yeah.
Barry Alvarez and Nick Saban, but I think Nick Saban's having too much fun doing TV. His commercials for the bed and breakfast things are hilarious, where he says you can't have fun and showers longer than 5 minutes.
Aren't those incredibly funny commercials?
They are funny. He's got a really dry sense of humor. You've seen that one, Captain, where he tells the vacationers that they can't have showers longer than, and when he says absolutely no fun. I love that. But see, Barry Alvarez, when's the last time you heard from Barry Alvarez?
Yeah, been a while.
I don't know that Barry would have any interest, but I would certainly argue, you've heard me argue that athletic directors should be former coaches, and the reasons are kind of obvious. Former coaches, guys that actually coached a sport, I say guys and gals, they coach the sport, they have no choice but to make hard decisions.
I agree with you. Look at Beth
Sometimes
Getz.
they have to let a coach go. Sometimes they have to let a player go that they wish they could keep. But he doesn't deserve to be there, and you're always thinking, what's in the best interest of our entire football team or our entire basketball team, whatever the sport might be. You're going to make the decision that's best for the team.
Yeah, if you get somebody like
those are hard decisions. But
Barry
Alvarez had any trouble making those hard decisions?
No.
I promise you he didn't.
Okay, Coach, but if you get somebody like that, why do you need the NCAA at all?
Well, you're right. No telling how much money just tied up in NCAA staffing.
Well,
a lot of money, I'm sure.
And if it got as far as Barry Alvarez was hired to run college football, I don't think the NCAA would have any control.
No, they washed their hands
Yeah.
of this, and it's the blood's on their hand. The money's on their hands.
No, Barry would be my
Period.
first pick because he is exactly what you said. He would not be afraid to make really tough decisions that may offend and upset some people, but you got to do what's best for the overall path and future of the sport. And I just right now with this, the transfer portal. It's just incredible how much in and out. It's just nonstop. It's
lunacy, really.
It really is.
Well, okay, and the other thing is, you guys, is, okay, these quarterbacks like Bo Prabula and a lot of these other people, these are backup quarterbacks that are making this kind of money.
What I tell you the other day, the backup used to be the most popular person on campus. Now it's the most popular person in the transfer portal.
It's incredible.
Yeah.
Well, what do you think, Don?
Right.
What do you think? So you want more structure? Would you like to see football pull away from the NCAA and run itself, be self-governing?
Well, I'd hate to see that. I'd like to think that the NCAA could be the governing body, but they've got to be prepared to make hard decisions and establish guidelines that are for sure in the best interest of intercollegiate athletics. And the fact that, even the even the NFL has a salary cap.
Yes.
College football has no salary cap. How stupid is that?
Yeah, exactly.
Not really.
That's a good point. I don't know. I don't know what the answer is, but, let's look at, have you had a chance at all to look at Missouri?
I haven't looked at them in terms of video, but I've done a deep dive on them in terms of analytics, yes.
Okay, so obviously we ask you this all the time. How important is Iowa's running game going to be in this game to beat this Missouri team? I know it's always important, but is this one of those games where if Iowa doesn't run the ball, it could be, they're going to be in serious trouble?
I think so, yeah. Simply because we haven't been very consistent with our passing game, and I'm certainly not putting all the blame on our quarterbacks. Everybody shares in the blame. and I give our offensive line credit for being at least average to above average in terms of pass protection.
Mm-hmm.
Our problems have been more receivers being able to get open, being able to separate from defenders, and for that matter, sometimes the problems with the quarterback, maybe receiver selection could be better. We've just been pretty inconsistent with our passing game for different reasons, and our greater consistency, of course, has been with our running game.
Yeah.
And
go ahead. I'm sorry.
So I do think it is critical that we be able to run the football and shorten the game. There are a lot of interesting analytics and a lot of interesting stats. Let me just kind of pique your curiosity here. You know what a bowl evaluation looks like.
Mm-hmm.
I took 10 games from Iowa, and the obvious 10 games, the 9 conference games, plus Iowa State, and then the SEC only plays 8 conference games. So I took those 8 games, and then I added in the 2 non-conference games that I thought were the toughest opponents. And off those 20 games, I was hoping to find one parameter that was 20 for 20, that identified the winning team in all 20 games. There is no such animal. But if you want to look at them separately, if you look at Iowa's 10 games, there's one parameter out of 25 that is 100% win. And if you look at Missouri's 10 games, there's one parameter again out of 25 that is also 100% win. And common sense would tell you, if you win those 2 parameters, I just about guarantee you won the football game. Now, here's the rest of that story. Iowa has an edge in one of those 2 parameters, and Missouri has an edge on the other one. So I wouldn't be surprised at all if we each win one of those 2, and now we're back to a coin toss outcome. It's probably going to be a one-score game. I think Vegas is saying, 3 points or something?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Here's a simple little exercise that sometimes is a pretty good indicator. Let me just talk about these individual stats. Scoring offense for Iowa. We're very even with Missouri in terms of scoring, which is great news for Iowa fans, of course. We're actually 66th in the country over all 12 games, 28 points per game. So one question, when we're on the field with our offense, it's 28 points per game. How many points has Missouri's defense given up over that entire season? They've given up 20 points per game. So if you add 28 and 20 together, that's 48. You divide by 2, then the theoretical score, based on those offensive and defensive scoring history, would be 24 points for Iowa. And if you do the same exercise for Missouri's offense versus an even better scoring defense from Iowa, those numbers total 46.2. So that means 23 points for Missouri. If you just do that simple math, the final score is going to be 24-23 in favor of the Hawkeyes.
That's kind of probably sort of the score I'm going to pick. I think I'm probably going to pick Iowa to win. I don't know. I haven't really given it a ton of thought yet, but it's going to be interesting. And, you talk about these analytics. If someone were to ask me, what do you think are the 2 most important analytics to determine Hawkeye football wins, I would say rushing the football, rushing yards, and turnovers. But I think I asked you that one time, and that's not correct, is it?
Well, I don't want to give away the store. I'll say it this way: we're good on turnovers, as you know. Right now in turnover margin, let me check. We're plus 13 on the season.
Okay,
that is ranked 7th in the country.
That's good.
Now the bad news: Missouri's not bad either. They're plus 7. That ranks them 26.
Okay.
So that still gives us a decided edge in turnover margin. History says we're going to win on turnovers. That's always a good stat to have on your side.
Okay.
Now, sometimes plus 1 doesn't produce great results. Plus 2 in general is a winning percentage probably at least in the mid-80s. I'm just talking about Big Ten games historically.
Oh.
Plus 2 last year in the Big Ten was 83% win.
Well, look at the UCLA game.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, UCLA won that game because of turnovers.
Yeah. Okay, now.
Yeah, you're right.
Okay, now the opt-outs are going to play a big factor here. I mean, if one of the things that Iowa was maybe slightly better on was rushing statistics, that was with Caleb Johnson. Without Caleb, who knows what we're going to be able to do.
Well, then they're missing one of the best
receivers.
Yeah, they're on this Luther Burden. I mean, he is NFL first-round pick. And that's interesting. They both kind of cancel each other out, but Iowa obviously used Caleb Johnson. He touched the ball more than the receiver did.
Yeah, that's true. Caleb finished with 1,537 yards on 240 carries, so that's 20 carries for each and every game for the entire season. Of course, I know he didn't play in the first half of game one, but on average, 20 carries a game, 21 rushing touchdowns, as you know. Luther Burden, believe it or not, his numbers are not off the charts good.
They were better last year.
Incredible talent. I think everybody projects him to be a first-round pick.
Yeah. He was a 5-star.
But believe it or not, they have a receiver with more receiving yards than Luther Burden. And he will play in the game, and he is a good player. Let me find his name.
Do you think that's partly due to double teams that were – I mean, he probably benefited from them. But, hey, that's what you need to do if you're a good player.
Well, I do think that's one of the reasons. Who is this guy's name? Shoot. I know where it is. It's on the back of one page. Here we go. The guy's name is Theo Weiss, W-E-A-S-E. He has 55 catches for 809 yards.
Wow.
Compared to 671, I think it was, for Burden.
That's pretty good.
One reason, 676, yeah.
Okay.
One reason, of course, I'm sure they gave a little more attention to Burden. You're right. So I'm sure that Weiss probably got more single coverage, certainly, than Burden did.
Mm-hmm.
But to their credit, they took good advantage of it. More yards than Burden, 55 catches. He did play in all 12 games. He obviously is an outstanding receiver. The good news for us, Burden, of course, was first-team All-SEC. They had a second-team All-Conference offensive lineman, the starting right tackle that's also opted out.
Mm-hmm.
His name is Armand Mimbo, and he was second-team All-SEC. He's their best blocker. He will not be playing. The other second-team All-SEC player they have is an edge rusher by the name of Johnny Walker. That's an easy name to remember.
There you go.
Yep.
And he's probably going to present some problems for our tackles. I think he'll be an edge rusher probably most of the game, if not the entire game. He's very active. He's got 7.5 sacks for the season, and he was second-team All-SEC. And, of course, they're just like we are in the Big Ten. They got 18 teams just like we do. So it's a real accomplishment to be first-team All-Conference in either league. And as you know, we had more guys do it than what people would expect to hear. We have a lot of good individual players, one of which is opted out. Well, I guess two's opted out since Jamari got. I don't recall he was first-team All-Conference.
I don't think he was.
If only because he missed it.
No, I don't think he was first-team.
But he was clearly our best.
Oh, without question, yeah, he was good.
Yeah, we'll miss him. You know, they would not have gone after him if he was playing. They would go after the other corner, whoever it was. And now they probably feel pretty comfortable going after either one of our corners.
Yeah, I would imagine it's going to be Deshaun and TJ starting, and then I think Nestor will rotate him in. And, you know, as great as Caleb was, Don, these two guys behind him aren't as good right now. But I think if there's blocking, I think Jazion Patterson and Kamari Moulton will do fine. I'm not really that worried about running back. Are you?
You know, I agree with you 100%. I made a comment a while back. I said, we're going to be fine without Caleb. That's a pretty bold statement.
Yeah.
Because you're talking about one of the best running backs in college football.
Yep.
But it just says so much about who those other two guys are.
Yes. And
it says a lot about the blocking.
And the O-line,
profit from.
Yeah, and it's interesting. Jazion Patterson showed they had players available a couple of days ago, and you know he said, there's people down in Florida that say, man, why are you waiting? Well, your time's now. And he talked about being loyal and being a man, and that doesn't mean he may not hit the portal down the road, but he seems pretty. I mean, he's waited his time. I think he and Kamari together next year could be a really fun running back combination. And Don, don't you think this bowl game is important to help springboard that?
Absolutely. Those guys are excited about sharing the carries.
Yep.
And don't get me wrong, they got along great with Caleb.
Yes.
One issue on this team has never been our culture. You know, we have the right team dynamics. You know, we don't have a bunch of selfish players on this football team. And that's obvious in each and every game you see. It's obvious if you just look at the interaction on the bench between players. The culture is great, and that's to the credit of our players and coaches.
And I give
that way.
I give Liddell Betts a lot of credit, because what I've liked about this running back situation this year is there's times where Jason Patterson will be in the game in the first series of the game, or the same with Kamari Molt. It's been, and Jason talked about how that keeps you engaged, knowing at any point you may be in there, even though we have an All-American running back. And that's, to me, that's Liddell Betts trusting in all these guys.
Yeah, and all credit goes to Liddell Betts.
Mm-hmm.
I can guarantee you that Tim Lester is not too concerned with which running back's in the game.
Yep.
Because he has complete faith, I'm sure, in Liddell. Liddell knows the individual strengths and weaknesses of the players. And you'll even see this during a game. One of those backup backs will be inserted in the game for one play. Well, it's simply because he's ideal for the play we're about to run.
Exactly.
Yeah, and then maybe Caleb goes right back in after that one play.
And that's what Jason said. There's times where they'll put him in. Jason's shown he can catch. I mean, I like all three running backs. So, no, I think running back will be fine. I think if they get blocking, I think they're going to be productive. I'm with you, though, Don. I think it comes down to running the football and turnovers. I used to put a lot into time of possession, but time of possession can be misleading. Turnovers rarely are misleading. Fair?
Turnovers is still a good stat to have on your side.
Yes.
I would say this. You asked me, you said, if we outrush them and we have an edge on turnovers, do we win the game? I would say, yes, we'll win the game if we do those two things.
That's kind of how I think of it, too. And Brendan Sullivan, obviously, if you're Missouri, you're going to want to try to force him to pass, right? I mean, you also, okay, you want to run the ball, then we're going to beat on you, and then you're going to be back to your fourth-team walk-on. Missouri's defense, what's your approach if you're Missouri's defense with Brendan Sullivan?
Well, I think you want to be sure that you can control the running game and make Iowa beat you through the air.
Yeah, I mean,
I think they feel with confidence if we get Iowa into a throwing situation, we're going to win the game. Here's a stat I keep track of. It's a little bit of a contrarian stat, and that is who had the fewest pass attempts. Because in general, in the Big Ten, the team with the fewest pass attempts is more likely to win the game than the one with more attempts.
Interesting.
Simply because, they're controlling.
They're running the ball.
They're not a victim of down and distance. They're not having to throw all day long.
Sure.
Because they're playing from behind and they're looking at third and long every time.
So we had kind of an interesting thing. Two of the new quarterbacks coming in, Jimmy Sullivan and Hank Brown, are able to practice with the team for this bowl. They're not able to play, but they're able to practice. How much is that going to help them going into next year?
Not much, I don't think. Simply because now, are we saying that they're actually able to practice even at the bowl site? Are they part of the? They're going
with the team. They're traveling with the team to the bowl game. Kirk said that the other day. It's a new rule.
And so all I'm saying is that the only thing that guarantees us to have is some really good scout team quarterbacks. And that's important, because the defense obviously needs to see out of the scout team. They need to see players that, or at least are similar to the ones they're going to face on game day.
Mm-hmm.
So if Jimmy Sullivan and our Auburn transfer are able to work on the scout team, we're going to get great quarterback play on the scout team, and I think that's going to give us the best possible preparation for the game.
And then the fact that they're both going to be here for the spring's huge. I mean, now you know what the quarterback room is going to be. And is it great? No, but it's okay under the circumstances. You had to be realistic in your expectations. And what will be interesting is Bo Prabula will also be doing the same thing with Missouri. I mean, I'm assuming he'll be at the bowl game, just standing on the other sideline.
Yeah, and I don't know. Realizing they invested a lot of money in him already, maybe they don't want to risk him working on the scout team.
Yeah, they may not do that, but he can be with the team down at the bowl game.
Why would you give him snaps on the varsity end of the field? Simply because you've got to get the backup ready to go, too.
True.
Yeah.
I did read that Missouri, do they have a 5-star coming in? I thought I read somebody said they have a 5-star quarterback, but that makes sense.
At least a 4-star.
That makes sense, though. You have the more veteran guy, and you try to because I know Michigan was trying to do that too. I mean, Michigan was trying to look for a second quarterback to have for the new guys. So, but okay, it was interesting, Don. We talked to like Aaron Graves. I wrote about Aaron Graves, Xavier Wamka, Ethan Herkett, and Logan Jones. they all are coming back. And a lot of it is because of the culture, and they love being Hawkeyes and whatever. But obviously the other part of it was they were told, Aaron Graves came out and said, hey, they said, yeah, you'd probably be at best a third-day pick. And he's like, okay, that's all I needed to hear. I'm back. So that's the thing. Talk about how important it is that these guys hear what they need to hear, not what they want to hear.
Well, I think it's critical because these decisions, of course, are significant. If you declare early for the draft, and you've heard me say on draft day, how many picks are there in the first round? I think there are only 32 teams.
32, I
right?
believe. 32, I believe. Yeah.
Okay. So there's only maybe because of trades or whatnot, there's more than 32 picks in the first round. Some years that's true, I know. But in general, there's only the guarantee of 32 first-round picks. On draft day, on day one, I guarantee there's at least 132 that haven't been told they're going to be first-round picks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And obviously there's going to be 100 disappointed players that have declared for the pros. They'll be disappointed they may only fall into the second round.
Mm-hmm.
Well, let's not feel too sorry for them because I'm pretty sure second-round guys are going to make some really big money,
Yes,
too.
they are, yep.
But the point is, not everybody can be a first-rounder. And it's good for – and our guys, that's why it's good to be able to get accurate information, somebody you can trust, and I don't know who those people are, but I guarantee they're getting some feedback that's what they think is brutally honest. Here's what these experts really think is going to happen if I declare now.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm glad to hear that. It doesn't surprise me at all that guys like Aaron Graves would have a very sound decision-making process where, I love Iowa. I certainly don't have to leave Iowa right now. And unless you can tell me I'm going to make all kinds of money out of this year's draft, I'm coming back. I got more football to play because I do want to be a first-round pick. If it doesn't happen this year, maybe it can happen a year from now.
And Ethan Hurka did acknowledge that NIL does make that decision easier, too. I mean, not getting rich, but I'm sure Ethan Hurka, with what he's done, he's probably got a nice little chunk of NIL money that's going to be coming his way this last year, and he said that factors in the decision, and that's kind of what it's supposed to do. Because I think it's evident none of these guys are ready for the NFL. If the NFL was telling Xavier Wamka, "Oh yeah, you're going to be," they'd go.
Yes,
but they're not hearing what they want to hear, and that's fine. They, like you said, they still have time to develop.
Yeah, that's right. You can take steps to improve your draft status from one year to the next, and I think there are any number of players that have done that we're familiar with, and sometimes that extra year of college football makes a significant difference in how they can play.
So, before we wrap up, I don't know if I've asked you this, but Bill Belichick, it's official. He is now North Carolina's head coach. So Kirk is the second oldest coach at the FBS level. And Belichick's son, Steven, is coming to be his defensive coordinator. And it sounds like head coaching waiting, even though it doesn't look – I don't think Belichick was able to get that in his contract. But are you surprised that he's coming to college? Just what are your thoughts?
I am a little bit surprised, simply because – he's got more money than he'll ever need, and he clearly missed his coaching. And to me, it's a little bit ironic. I didn't like the way that Mac, for what I know, Mac was kind of shown the door, and I thought it should have been an opportunity for Mac to be able to simply announce his retirement when he was ready to announce it. And as I understand it, they didn't give him that chance. They announced Coach Mac Brown is done at the end of the year, and to me, I don't think that was very nice treatment on the part of the administration. Now I don't know what happened. Mac is an old friend, incidentally. One quick story about Mac Brown. I was in Chicago years and years ago, back in the '80s, with spring recruiting, and I was staying in some big hotel, that we got decent rates at. Probably a Marriott, I would imagine, something like that. And that morning at breakfast, there was another coach having breakfast. This is in May now. And he walked over to me and he said, "Don, we don't know each other, but I'm Mac Brown, and I'm coaching at Iowa State. And it makes sense to me. Why shouldn't we have breakfast together? We're going to compete in the fall, but I know you're a good guy, and I hope you understand I'm a good guy. So maybe we can even compare notes on spring recruiting." And and that's where the friendship started with Mac Brown. I did do analytics for North Carolina one year when Mac was back there most recently. It's been a few years ago because it's too much work. I do analytics only for Iowa now, although I've done them for 4 of the 5 Power 5 conferences. But now it's strictly Iowa. That's all I do.
Okay.
Incidentally, I don't mind sharing this with you. Talking about analytics, you'll laugh, but it's kind of funny. Last summer when I gave Kirk the analytics, I said this prediction model based on the 2023 season was 100% reliable and identified the winning team. The record in those games was 58 wins, no losses. And there was only 6 ties out of those 64 games. And I said, the only problem, Kirk, with these 4 new teams from out west, plus all these changes in terms of NIL and transfer portal, I got a feeling this prediction model is not going to hold up very well. And don't worry about it. I'll let you know as soon as I can prove that that's the case. That took about 3 weeks. And I went in and said, you can forget about that prediction model based on last season. And so the bottom line, the entire fall, based on updated stats, I'm developing any number of different prediction models. At the end of the year, I was charting 8 different prediction models, and I was so happy after game 11. I went to Kirk and I said, Kirk, I found a prediction model based on the games that included game 11 opponents. The new prediction model is 97% win. I said, that's not 100%, that's pretty close. The record at the time was 65 wins and 2 losses. Incidentally, both those losses, the negative example of those 2 exception games was, in both cases, it was UCLA. UCLA lost 2 games they absolutely should have won. What I call a negative exception. You don't mind being a positive exception because that means you stole a game, right? You won a game you didn't deserve to win. Well, it was 65-2 going into the last weekend. Well, guess what? It finished up 73-3, a third loss. And I think you know what the exception game was in week 12. The exception game was Nebraska and Iowa.
Oh, okay.
Because we won a game, and the analytics would say, how many guys named it Iowa win that game?
Okay, no, that's interesting. Yeah,
Well, we got hammered on analytics. All I can say, Nebraska did win 3 of those 5 parameters, but the 2 that we won obviously put us over the top. And, of course, it was a game that could have gone either way. Let's hear it for a long-range field goal kicker that's got nerves of steel.
No, that's
or
true.
Or maybe ice water in his veins.
And turnovers and rushing yards, too, right?
Yeah, you're right. We beat them on turnovers, and we outrushed them. I take that back. They outrushed us.
Did they?
But I do recall we beat them on turnovers.
Yeah. Oh, that's true, because that was a pat. That was a
in that prediction model. One of those parameters is turnover margin.
No, and you're right though.
I recall
Caleb's long touchdown was a pass.
It was a pass.
That was 70 yards. I went to passing still, but all right. Well, Donnie, great stuff as usual.
How about this? Here's another stat we won. I think I might have mentioned this to you, but the week of the Nebraska game, I saw Phil just for a few minutes after practice, and he looked at me and he said, "Okay, tell me something I need to know." And I said, "Phil, what comes to mind for me? You got to do 2 things to beat Nebraska. You got to win on turnovers. I know you only control half of that equation, but if our offense protects the ball well and you generate turnovers, that's important. Win on turnovers and do one other thing: eliminate the home runs.
Yep.
Can have no super explosive plays. Nebraska had none. They did have 3 explosive. They were 20-something yards. I think they were 20, 23, and 25 maybe. But all 3 of those 20-something plays amounted to less yardage than Caleb's 72-yard pass.
Yeah.
Or I should say lateral. Incidentally, how about this for a dumb play? Did you see New England, who had a chance to beat Buffalo, and they throw a simple swing pass backwards, and it's muffed, and Buffalo falls on it for a touchdown to win a close game. That's just so stupid. It's a swing pass. You need to be sure it's a forward pass.
Yeah.
And the only exception would be unless you want it to become a double pass.
Oh,
obviously, if it's a double pass, you got to throw it backwards.
You got to throw it backwards. Yeah.
Yep.
So, the game's a week from today.
So,
it's going to be an interesting game.
Any predictions, Donnie?
Yeah, I think I'll go with that 24-23.
I could see scoring that, yeah.
Yeah, I think that's a good score. It's a simple way of doing it. Our scoring offense versus their scoring defense. Take that average and then do the same thing for Missouri's offense versus our defense. And that points out a 1-point win for Iowa, 24-23.
Sounds good to me.
Sign me up right now.
All right, Donnie, we'll do this again after the bowl game. I'll get in touch with you after the bowl game and kind of go from there. You're going to be here for Christmas?
We're going to be here, and people have asked me, people assume we're going to Nashville. And I said, no, we're not. I said, if I thought for a second it was going to be Kirk's last game, we'd be there. But Kirk said, I'm coming back.
Yeah.
And based on that, I'm going to hope he stays with that decision, and I certainly have every reason to believe that he will.
Okay, sounds good to me, Donnie. Great. Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas to your family.
Christmas.
And we'll, like I said, we'll do this again after the bowl game.
That sounds great, guys. Have a great day.
Yep.
Merry Christmas, Donnie.
Yep, Merry Christmas.
Yep. All right, well, let's take a quick little break, and then we will be back with hoops talk, football talk, whatever we want.
From the Harty and Stalker Studios in the heart of the Hawkeye Nation, this is the mighty 1630 KCJJ, Iowa City.
Harty and Stalker Jewelers, making memories, making moments.
It is going to be mostly cloudy for a pretty good chunk of the morning. Then we will start to clear out by early afternoon. Then partly cloudy for the rest of the day. Our high near 42 with wind west to northwest at 5 to 15. Tonight, mostly cloudy, 28. Tomorrow, mostly cloudy, 38 on Christmas Day. Mostly cloudy, 42. Could see scattered rain by later this week with highs back in the 50s by the weekend. I'm meteorologist Sean Cable on the mighty 1630 KCJJ. Current temp now 37.
KCJJ weather brought to you by Plum Supply.
Plum Supply kitchens and baths. Your home never looks so beautiful.
1-800-800-ROSE. 1-800-800-ROSE. Your FTD florist is the only number you need to know to send flowers anywhere in the country or Canada from anywhere in the country. 1-800-800-ROSE. It's so easy. Just remember one number. 1-800-800-ROSE. Your FTD florist. 1-800-800-ROSE. Remember,
for a gift that your loved one will treasure for a lifetime, find it at our family-owned jewelry store in Iowa City, Harty and Stalker Jewelers.
We can show you diamond engagement rings, colored stones, fashion jewelry, and watches.
Our jewelers are on site, so we can design jewelry for that special person in your life.
We are Harty and Stalker, serving Iowa City and the surrounding area for 3 generations.
Harty and Stalker Jewelers, downtown Iowa City, and HartyandStalkerJewelers.com. Ask for Willa, Terry, Tim, or Kate. One of us is always there.
Don't wait for an emergency to get a backup for your car keys. Unlike the olden days, car keys have gotten extremely complex. Mike's eKeys for Cars can generate the most technically advanced automotive keys that are on the market today. For spares and lost keys, Mike's eKeys for Cars can produce most conventional transponder, high security, and remote head keys. Mike's eKeys for Cars will keep you on the road. Call 319-330-9185 and schedule an appointment today. Don't wait until it's too late. Call 319-330-9185 today.
Hi, this is Jill Sterner with Sterner Taxidermy in Lone Tree. It's hunting season again, and I'm inviting all of you hunters to follow us on our Facebook page. You can view Dirk's award-winning artistry, his workmanship that he completes with each individual piece. We can be reached at 319-330-1774. Again, 319-330-1774.
Hanging lights is a pain. Dealing with blown bulbs, dangerous installations, and the endless rat's nest of cords, there's gotta be a better way, and now there is. Illuma Lights permanent outdoor lighting from Big Dog Tech. Illuma Lights provides illumination for every occasion. Holiday lighting, accent lights, security, and of course, lighting for the best season, football season. The Illuma Lights app lets you create your own patterns with color, motion, brightness, and static control over every individual light, or use Big Dog's presets to transform your home or business. The professionally installed track system makes Illuma Lights LEDs virtually disappear until you turn them on. Rated at 50,000 hours, you'll enjoy stress-free convenience for years to come. No more ladders, no more hooks, no more wifey's dirty looks. That's the song you'll be singing all year long with Illumilights permanent outdoor lighting from Big Dog Tech. Find out more at BigDogTek.net or call 319-395-0800.
Are you tired of living in a home that doesn't quite meet your needs? Then it's time to call the experts at Streets Maintenance. Their team of skilled professionals specializes in renovations and remodeling, transforming your home into the space you've always dreamed of. From kitchen bath remodels to complete home renovations, no job is too big or too small. Streets Maintenance will work with you every step of the way to ensure your vision becomes a reality. So don't wait any longer. Call Streets Maintenance to schedule your consultation at 400-4483. Let's start building your dream home today.
Once upon a time in the land of the Hawkeyes, a business grew. A business that would become synonymous with real estate. Hi, I'm Steve Anderson of Hawkeye Title and Settlement. When you're buying or selling your home, you'll need title and settlement services. Consider the Hawkeye Title and Settlement team. Give us a call at 351-8600. Hawkeye Title and Settlement, the team you love, the people you trust.
It's that wonderful holiday time of the year. Moments of eating too much, spending time with family, or in some cases, maybe trying to avoid family. However you choose to celebrate, the Diamond Dental team of Dr. Forbes, Kate, Michelle, Michaela, and Kim would like to wish everyone a happy, healthy, and safe holiday. Here's hoping you enjoy every moment of this joyous time of the year. Rest assured, Diamond Dental is here, providing superior care for your entire family during the holiday season and all year long.
This is Leah Pasha, and I've been saying, hit a deer, call Premier, for years. But it's time for something new. It's still where you need to go for deer divots and door dings, as well as damaged dashboards. That's what my dad Nathan's driving at and dreams about. Why not say, when your car is dinged, be a deer and call Premier? I think Dad's going to love that. Premier Automotive, North Liberty's premier auto body repair shop.
Be a deer and call Premier Auto Body in North Liberty.
Diamond Dream Sports Academy, 20,000 square foot indoor facility, holds 8 batting cages, space for infield work, space for throwing and pitching and all your arm care needs. Offers private instruction, group lessons, camps and clinics, leagues, memberships. Rentals available at Diamond Dreams is open to the public.
Our top level instructors include former professional, college, and Olympic athletes. Our coaches will help these athletes achieve their full athletic potential, develop a strong work ethic, and a solid base to build. The last thing you want to do is look back and wish you had worked or played harder.
Locally owned and established in 2005, Diamond Dreams is Eastern Iowa's premier training facility. Located at 2905 Stoner Court, North Liberty. Call today and reserve your time. 319-665-2173. 319-665-2173.
When you go to a family restaurant, you want 3 things. 1, a wide selection of breakfast, lunch, and dinner items. 2, you want those selections to be affordable and delicious. And 3, you want to be treated like family. You get all 3 at the Midtown Family Restaurant. Breakfast items available anytime the doors are open. Legendary tenderloins, onion rings, and hot roast beef sandwiches. And special ribeye and shrimp nights. Daily specials at each location. And no matter if you're coming in solo or with a group of 20, you get the same special family treatment. The Midtown Family Restaurants at Court and Scott Streets and at the Walmart Plaza on Highway 1 West. Follow them on Facebook or at MidtownFamily.com. The family's waiting for you. GT Carr, owner of Supple's Building and Remodeling, has been offering unmatched service and quality for over 25 years. The trained professionals at Supple's Building and Remodeling will install and guarantee the products used in any job, no matter how big or small. They also stand behind their work and offer no-nonsense, exceptional customer service from design to completion and beyond. Whether it's a simple window replacement or a major house addition, you'll have the confidence that Supple's Building and Remodeling is committed to quality. Visit Supples.net or call them today at 319-337-2246.
When someone is kind enough to share their time with us, we better make it worth their while.
They don't want to do people call it the game, right?
Patrick Eads and Terry Adams of Deary Brothers Ford talk about what Here For You means to them.
You don't have to spend a half a day in our dealership to get that good competitive price. We just want to try to deliver that to you up front.
And that makes me feel good, makes me proud.
Because that's what people want. They want a fair, honest deal.
As far as a statement Here For You, we want to not just say it, but live it.
Find out what it means to you at Deary Ford in Iowa City.
Hi, this is Bill Leixenring from the Oxyoke Inn. The Oxyoke Inn is now serving daily. Our Oxyoke family is ready to serve you with the same quality of food and service you've come to trust since 1940. Now serving lunch, dinner, banquets, and carry-out daily with 4 portion sizes. Sundays featuring our famous brunch buffet. You can also order curbside carry-out and pies to go online and take the comforting taste of the Oxyocomb to your family's table. Visit oxyokin.com for hours, menus, reservations, carry-out, specials, and gift cards. From our Oxyoke family to yours, we can't wait to see you again soon. Oxyokin, in the heart of Amana.
The Oxyokin. Happy holidays, 1630 KCJJ.
Yeah.
We are back.
Are we?
Well, I guess.
So that was a scam, huh, Captain? You just helped me. You just saved me.
Scam.
What if I would have clicked on that? What would I be doing now?
You'd be filling out a form saying,
"Hey, first we need your Social Security number, your mom's maiden name, and all that."
It's a bunch of crap.
No,
I mean, I've been getting those damn things like maybe once every 12 hours.
So it just found my cell phone number just randomly? Is that okay?
Yeah.
Well, I deleted it. It said delete and report as junk. I didn't do that. I just deleted it.
Yeah.
So, but I didn't click on it. So, hopefully, my identity. There's like 8 people have my identity.
They're
now.
just looking for either your credit card number or whatever.
Well, I only have one functioning credit card right now, so
then they laugh at you.
Yeah, well, I do that on purpose.
They think you're ridiculous.
I've had credit cards. I had a bunch at one point. If you stop using them,
you would tell them that, they would send you back. Well, we don't even want to deal with. We're not going to screw you.
Good. I'm too pathetic to be identity theft.
Evidently,
that's fine with me. That's fine with me. So, but
no, all I got's one credit card.
So, well, I have. Actually, I have.
I've
2.
got 2.
I have 3, but I only use 1.
You got 3.
I use my debit card for everything.
Well, I do too, and then I've got.
I have debit and then 2 other credit cards.
I've got debit and I've got gas card that I can't use because there's no stations here that carry the gas. It's so.
And is it like a Shell?
There is a station. It's an Amoco, but I'm not traveling all the way out there.
There's an Amoco on Dodge Street.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you'll drive to freaking
Dodge?
Illinois to eat lunch.
By the Mexican restaurant by the interstate.
Yeah, I'm not going out there.
But you'll go to 100 miles to eat dinner.
Well, if I run out of gas, I'll just go. I got a gas station right across the street, which Quick Star.
Okay.
I just go to Quick Star.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you'll drive far for food, not for gas.
Or picnic.
Or picnic.
I'll drive far.
Well, you could go. Quick Star's got good fried chicken. I've had it twice.
Quick Star's got good food.
They're two-piece little thing of fried chicken for that's a good little deal.
I like the fact that they're nice to you.
I've been there twice, and they've been nice to me.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't go to many play where they're just outwardly mean. I mean, the Casey's, they're not really mean. They just get annoyed by your presence sometimes.
They're annoyed.
Well, then there is the lady that works there that never shuts up. She can turn a pack of gum into a 2.5-hour exchange because she just won't punch the numbers. And finally, ma'am, I'm in a hurry because she just keeps talking.
Well, the one across the highway from me, you got to go through. You get nicotine withdrawal just going into the building.
Why, they smoke in there?
Oh God, they smoke outside. They don't smoke in there.
Oh, just from the okay. I see.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hello.
Well, this is your Grandview NAIA Championship report. I'm pleased to say they won 35-7.
Yes,
I got some
Saturday, beating Kaiser. They were both undefeated teams. That coach does a really nice job. He's been there 6 years. And so I think they said this was their second championship. I thought I'd read someplace it was their third. And I know it's a small school, but, they deserve some recognition.
Hey.
I'm real proud of them. And
you bet.
Go Vikings, Thank you for letting me say that. Have a very happy holiday, everybody. Bye-bye.
You bet. Merry Christmas.
Yeah, well, I remember when the U.S. beat Kaiser.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You ever had a Kaiser roll?
Yes, I've had
not
a Kaiser
bad.
roll. Yeah.
You're all
but
right.
Grandview, they haven't lost. I mean, I think that guy's undefeated as their head coach. I mean,
That's pretty good.
If he was the Ohio State head coach, they'd still want him fired.
Yeah, just
and every year I fill out a questionnaire from the Kaiser Foundation.
Okay. But no, congratulations to Grandview. I'm not sure if there's. Did she say if there's any local kids on?
She didn't say.
Okay, but no, that
And
game.
we didn't ask.
That game between North Dakota State and South Dakota, though, State. That was, like I said, there was one time where Adam Bach got a 15-yard penalty for hitting Cam Miller out of bounds. Did you see that play?
Yes, I did.
I mean, it was a tough play because his momentum and everything, but it was out of bounds.
That was not the championship game, though.
No, that was the semifinals.
Yeah.
No, they play number 1 Montana State now in the championship game down in Frisco, Texas, which is where my nephew lives. That should be a good game. Montana State's they're undefeated. I think they're 14, 15-0. And but no, Cam Miller, wow, he's ending a great career on a really high note. He was impressive.
Does he not have another
COVID
year or anything?
I think this is it for him. And but he was very impressive. I just did not realize he could run as well as he runs. He's very quick. I mean,
Yes,
he
he
can
is.
easily play for Iowa. Well, and no knock to any. I'd take him over any Iowa quarterback they have right now.
I haven't seen anything of Hank Brown, but yeah, I would think so.
So, and Brendan Sullivan, I'm guessing if he wasn't here, I think that would have helped their chances with Prebula if it wasn't just about money. And I'm guessing with Prebula, it wasn't just about money. He wants to play. I think he's trying to figure out, okay, if I come to Iowa, I'm competing with a guy who seems to be being groomed to be their starter for next year. I don't think or maybe he said, oh, I'm better than Sullivan. It doesn't matter. Iowa's just not paying me enough money. I don't think it was that cut and dry.
I don't think it was
we'll
either.
see. I mean, Missouri's got a lot going on right now. They're in a great conference. They're winning big. They won 11 games under this guy last year. They've won 9. They're having a good run.
They're doing good. Yeah.
Yeah, they're having a good run. They have a ton of NIL money. So I was not surprised at all when he picked Missouri.
No,
I thought it was either going to be Missouri or Ole Miss. No, I will. See, I was sort of surprised. The recruiting guys, they were like, oh, huge blow to Iowa. We got to regroup. I wasn't. They seemed like they were convinced that he was coming here, and I never was.
No, I wasn't either.
I never really was overly confident that he was coming here. And I think what Heinrich was doing there was, hey, guys, we got a chance here, but it's going to come down to money, and right now we don't have enough. I'm not saying that was a desperate plea, but that was hey, we need help right now.
Yeah.
And that's what he has to do. I feel for him. It's tough.
It was. Well, we didn't get him, so turn the page and either play with what you got or...
I had one guy email me. He's like, that guy's an actuary. He can pay for it. Why the hell should Brad Heinrich pay for his own? I mean, yeah. And this guy claims to be an Iowa fan. He's just like, I already do enough paying for tickets and whatever. That is an argument. If you're a season ticket, oh man, they also want me to give NIL. I don't have that much money. To where if you're Iowa, do you think it ever gets to the point where you hope that they pick NIL donations over season ticket holders?
Well, I mean, for most people, there is a limited amount. There is a ceiling on what they're willing to spend.
And it may come down to that.
It sure could.
Could you ever see yourself donating to the NIL and staying home to watch stuff? Tailgating and then just going home and not going to the games?
No.
Health permitting. I mean,
I don't think so.
I
mean, I can see a time when we don't go to the games.
But that would be more just don't take me health and age related. I would think.
Yeah,
but I'm talking about would you ever not go to the game, sacrifice that part to give more to NIL?
No.
And I don't think I think more fans would be like you. And I'm not blaming you, but that's a problem. They got to figure that out. Iowa, I mean, and every school's got to figure that stuff out. Now I'm guessing there will be fans though in my age that will say, we don't need to go to these games anymore. It's just getting to be too much. And the money that we're saving from that we'll give to NIL. I think that will happen some. And, hey, that's
I think some people do that already.
That's up to each individual person. That's their business.
Yeah, I don't.
But it'll be interesting to see if Iowa's NIL. I mean, they really haven't done much so far. I mean, that receiver from Chattanooga was here over the weekend.
No, we got Hank Brown and retained some guys coming back.
Yeah, and that cost.
It costs, and it's important.
No, it's important. Oh, I think getting Logan Jones and those four guys to come back. And the funny thing is, it's news that they were coming back, even though, other than maybe there really wasn't a lot of opportunity for them to. It's not like the NFL was like begging these guys to come out. And I don't mean that to be criticism. I think Logan Jones realized the more he talked during the season, I could use another year to get better.
Yeah.
I'm not projected near as high as I want to be. And that's what this comes to be about. And same thing with Wamka. You know, he grades high in some areas, but he did not have a great year this year. He's been okay.
No.
He's been inconsistent at times, but if you noticed, he's probably their third safety right now, behind Castro and Quinn Schulte. And and I think Wamka, and what he said, he's got things he needs to work on, foot movement and attention to detail. And basically what he came down to saying is, I'm capable of doing a lot of things. I have to start doing those things more frequently, meaning consistency.
Yeah.
And that's what I think he wants to work on this last year and build up his stock, because my guess is he's not any chance of going in the first, second, or third rounds. And then once you get fourth, fifth, sixth, then it's kind of a crapshoot.
Yeah. No, for sure.
And they're going to be a nice NIL check for him back at Iowa, 4-year starter. I would guess he and Cohen Intringer will be their starting safeties next year, with Zach Lutmer working in there too. So Wamka has another year to really help his stock. You just hope he can stay healthy.
Yep.
So, there you go.
So do you think that they shut the doors on the quarterback room now, or do you think they keep the casting?
Well, I think you always keep it open. My guess, though, is that there's you don't always go after quarterbacks just to go after quarterbacks. They zeroed in on these two. They got one of them, and we'll see. Would it surprise me if another name emerges in the spring and summer? No, because you never know. Jackson Stratton could leave. I mean, this is still so fluid. You're going to have a whole new season of possible coming-ins and goings this spring and summer. The portal never sleeps. So yeah, the roster to me won't be set until about 2 weeks before preseason practice starts. So,
yep.
And I think a lot of guys are going to wait and see what they do in spring ball. Hey, did I make a ride? Nope, I'm still buried, man. I'm going to check out the portal. I think that that's what spring ball is for. You kind of gauge where you are, and then you go from there.
Well, and that's the best use of it.
Yeah. Oh, and I forgot to watch the Kennedy thing last night. My neighbor even texted me, and by the time I turned it on, it was Sandoval. Who was the guy? Arturo.
Yeah. Well,
and I did like the.
After that, it was the Dead were the last one.
Oh, they were the last one. Then I see when they promoted who they had coming up, I thought it was over because they didn't mention the Dead, so I thought I had missed them. But I did hear they did. Did they do Ripple?
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, I had a feeling they were going to do that, and I did hear it on Twitter, and it was okay. I mean, it was okay. I'm just not a huge fan of that song.
I like the song.
Yeah, that's never been one of my favorite Dead songs. And the guy who did it, who was it? Sturgill Simpson?
Yeah.
I've heard of him. I assume he's country?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, I'd heard of him, but I'd never heard him. If that makes sense. Did they do any other songs besides Ripple?
Yeah.
What, Casey Jones?
No, they didn't do Casey Jones.
Did they do Fire in the Mountain?
No.
Cassidy?
Uncle John's Band?
Uncle John's Band? See, I would like to have seen that.
No.
Cassidy?
No, they did Ripple and Jesus.
So they do two songs?
Yeah.
Okay.
Basically.
Yeah, I wished I would have seen it, but I kind of forgot. I just assumed that I had missed them when I
just was.
And who was there? Were Mickey the two drummers and Bob Weir?
Bob Weir wasn't there.
He was not there?
Really?
I thought they showed him in the crowd. I thought I saw a picture.
Was he there?
Yeah, I think he was. And he's got a big beard now, and he looks like he's about 95. And
well, that's okay. Maybe I didn't recognize him because he really didn't.
They did show a cutaway of him in the crowd. Okay. And and I'm sitting there joking about it, but he probably is. Bob Weir probably is close to 80.
Yeah, probably.
I mean, those guys are older than you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Bob Weir, 77.
Okay, yeah. So
he was there.
Yeah. They showed him in the crowd.
I thought it was like a young Colonel Sanders. This guy, I didn't recognize him with the beard.
Colonel Sanders is no longer with us, Cap.
Well,
and he was mean, wasn't he? Mean?
Yes.
Harlan Sanders. Don't get on his bad side.
He didn't.
He'll throw chicken grease on you.
Crap.
He'll throw chicken grease on you.
Well,
he didn't get. Didn't he not get rich until very late in life?
Yeah, in his 70s.
And damn it, you're not going to get his. Well, how many?
Well, he got pissed off with the extra crispy.
What is it? 12 herbs and spices?
11.
Oh, it's 11.
I mean, they all looked really. I mean, God, he's 77. They all.
Well, they're all old.
Really old. Well, I'm 77. Do I look that old?
You don't look
You're
as old as Bob.
77. I'll be 76.
You don't look as old as Bob Weir. The last photo I saw of Bob Weir, he looked like
I didn't
really old. I'm sure Bob Weir's probably lived a little rougher life than you have. As far as, I mean, you've had your.
Hey,
You've had, but no, I'm sure he maybe.
You think it's easy being here?
No, what I'm saying though is, I think he maybe put a few things. I mean, you've never drank or smoked, you know, so I think that's one thing.
And no drugs.
And no drugs.
Diet Coke. Before that, Tab. That should count for something.
Wasn't that the astronauts pop?
Oh, Tab is just.
No, that's Tang.
Tab is battery acid.
Tang is orange juice, isn't it?
Yeah.
For the astronauts.
Yeah.
And those 2 astronauts are still up there. When are they coming? You imagine being the next 2 they try to get to go up there?
Going.
Yeah, I'm going to pass.
Crazy?
Hard pass.
God. They still don't know how they're going to get them down. Elon's going to have to fly up there on a rocket. Would you like to see Elon rescue him?
I'd like to see Elon up there.
They've been up there for like almost, it's been over half a year, hasn't it?
Oh, yeah. Well, they were supposed to come back in March.
They decide they'd rather stay up there.
Yeah, I don't think so.
God, who knows? A couple months from now, they may make that. Nah, we're good up here.
Yeah.
How's that working out for you?
Yeah, no, don't send anything up. We're good.
We're fine. We're fine.
Okay.
So, but yeah, a week from today, bowl game. Today's the 23rd,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And when are you leaving?
Saturday.
Yeah, hasn't it? Not a lot of excitement yet. It'll probably get some as the game draws closer. But you think there'll be 30,000 Iowa fans there?
No.
20?
No.
10? I'm guessing there'll be between.
I would say 10 would be ceiling.
I'm going to guess between like 5 and 8. They get 8,000 fans in that stadium. That'll be pretty good.
I think that's probably a good bet.
Yeah, when do you leave?
Saturday.
And have you looked? Have we looked at the weather yet for that? Is it too? It's too far off.
No, I've looked at it, and as of right now, it's a slight possibility of rain, and
in the 40s or 50s, though.
Yeah.
Okay,
I haven't looked today. Let me see.
It's going to be warmer up here, isn't it?
Well, chance of rain Saturday, low 50s.
God, think about that. You will have your air on before this week's over.
I'll probably have it on right now.
I had to turn my
in anticipation.
I had to turn my heat up. I let mine get down to 62 last night. When I woke up, it was a little cold.
Okay, yeah. As of right now, 50% chance of showers, a high of 61 in Nashville,
okay,
and a low of 58. So
wow,
that's pretty good.
Could be humid.
Yeah. Let's hope it doesn't rain, but
yeah, it would be, hopefully the rain doesn't. Although I don't know if I was going to be doing a lot of passing with Brendan Sullivan playing quarterback.
Yeah, that's
at least
true.
a lot of downfield passing that will rely on finesse and timing and anticipation and what have you. But I sure hope he doesn't plan on running 15 or 20 times because like Tim Lester said when we had Lester during the second bye week, the game against UCLA where he ran 9 times, I think it was. Mm-hmm. Lester said on 6 of those, they didn't want him running. I think one of Brendan's biggest problems is he doesn't let a play progress in the pocket.
And he tucks and runs too quick.
And that's just, Don's even said that on here, and that's not good quarterbacking.
Well, no, it isn't, and it's what got him hurt.
Yes, it's what got him hurt, but I also think it's partly due to his lack of trust in his throwing ability. But we'll see. I mean, he's going to be their guy, and if he gets hurt, Stratton will come in there, and hopefully by now, Stratton, if he does play, that they can use a little. I mean, this is not physics or rocket science. I would think by now, wouldn't you think he has a little bit more grasp of the offense?
I would sure think so.
God, he's been here through a whole season, so we'll see.
And he's gotten some first and second team reps, so yeah, he should have a much better handle on the offense. Yes.
Yep. And no show Wednesday. It's just you and Lang in here, or is it you and Hunter?
I'm not here.
Oh, is it you and Lang, Hunter? You looking forward to it? You'll be on from when to when? You're coming in here for 15 minutes?
No, he's not gonna.
How long will you make him be in here?
Until 3, 4 o'clock.
Seriously?
Yeah.
You're gonna make these guys be in here for 10 hours on Christmas Day?
On Christmas Day, because
God, you're like Nicolae the guy from Romania.
Who was the guy from Romania?
Nicolae Ceausescu. They ended up killing him and his wife. Remember him? You don't remember Nicolae Ceausescu?
No, he was. I thought he was on the Kennedy Center last night.
No, he was not. He's the one that was giving the speech, and the riot. The people were happy, and he could see his tyrancy ending right in front of his eyes, and he had guys in his ears saying, "Hey, you better get out of here." And then, like 2 hours later, he was dead and hanging. No, he was that terrible dictator from Romania.
Okay.
Just treated his people like crap, and I feel for Hunter, and I'm sticking up for Hunter and Lang.
Jesus Christ. Well, then you come in.
No.
Yeah, you come in.
No.
Keep him company.
Maybe I'll call in and
This
get.
is the first Christmas in 60 years that I've had off. Seriously.
Well, no, I'm happy for you. I just feel for Hunter and Tommy.
Yeah.
Just the little men, the small person in this thing.
Yeah.
I mean,
Just
another case of a small person being just trampled by the giant.
All right, now I got an update from your old pal Pete Nakos, Pat.
Okay, what's
You
that?
tired of him yet, or
He is it's just nonstop. Does it say that he's a portal thing in his? What's it say in his title? Twitter title. Doesn't it say?
I'm not on Twitter.
Oh,
but it's the same crap.
I think on his it says portal reporter, which is what he reports on. What's he saying?
He says Chattanooga wide receiver Sam Phillips down to a top 2 of Iowa and Virginia Tech.
Oh, so he eliminated Cal.
Yes. He had 49 catches, 803 yards, and 3 touchdowns.
Yeah,
for the Moccasins.
He looks kind of like a Seth Anderson type addition.
Yeah.
Now, if Seth could stay healthy, I think he would be okay. Now, in this one, if I had to pick, I'd probably pick Virginia Tech just because it's closer to where he is. But you never know. I think Iowa's a little better program than Virginia Tech right now. Virginia Tech, they used to be elite, but they're not anymore. So we'll see. I mean, they got a chance, and I mean, you know, they need bodies in the receiver room, and this guy does have some decent stats. So
he
we'll
does.
See.
Got some speed.
I wonder if that means hopefully he doesn't announce on freaking Christmas Day. Can't even the portal stop on Christmas? Seriously.
Well, it'll be a gift for one of the programs.
Would that make if this guy commits on Christmas Day, does that make it even just a better Christmas for you at the Suter House? It has no impact?
None.
Your daughters won't be emotional?
No impact whatsoever.
All right.
It's also the first day of Hanukkah.
The first of a dozen.
Yeah.
No, what are you going to do to celebrate?
8.
What are you going to do to celebrate?
Well, we'll light candles, and then we'll keep the cat away from the menorah.
There was a funny Twitter thing. They showed videos of cats destroying Christmas setup. They showed this one. It jumped up at something, and the whole tree came down, and the house caught on fire.
Ours couldn't because it was LEDs, but our cat, Indiana, the first night we got the tree, he just went after it. After that, he just loved it. He and Tabby will lay under that tree. They just love it. Tabby makes me turn the lights on.
Well, some of these cat videos on Twitter are funny.
Yeah.
Where they show cats, and they'll have hidden cameras, like what cats do, when their owners are away from home. And some of the stuff is pretty funny. Yeah. And it is funny watching dogs be afraid of cats. There's this one video, this massive Mastiff. This thing had to be 800 pounds. Little tiny cat hits it with its paw, and the Mastiff just runs and hides. And the cat chases after it. It is just the funniest thing.
Yeah, the dogs don't get size.
They don't. They do not. No. And I don't think cats do either. No, it's kind of like
cats get gravity, though.
They do. Yeah, they definitely do get gravity. So
yes, they do. And balance.
Yeah. No, your cat was amazing.
Bucky,
yeah. He'd stand on one leg, reach over, open up the kitchen.
I remember you telling me
the
that.
cat-proof or the kid-proof lock.
Yeah.
They're very clever.
And then open up the cereal box, get the cereal all over the floor, and then eat it.
Well, the dog would eat most of it.
Yeah. Just unbelievable.
All right. Should we turn it over to Molly Catherine here? Or?
She just arrived, so everybody have a Merry Christmas. We will not have a show Wednesday. Will we be back here Friday stronger than ever?
Yes.
I'm not going to have a guest, though. I'm not asking anyone 2 days after Christmas.
No. Yeah, Friday we'll be back, and Friday it will be the Hall of Fame, the Police Reports Hall of Fame.
On Friday?
On Friday, yeah. Right after Hawk Fanatic. So.
All right, so we're the lead-in.
Yeah.
Hey, that's important. It is. All right. A little pressure on us. All right. Thanks for listening, everybody. Molly Suter is next. HawkFanatic.com. Check it out. It's free.
KCJJ Weather, brought to you